Alrighty, we're finally fucking live. Oh my god. Thank you. Want to go ahead and introduce the show?
Of course, Mr. King. Guys, welcome to our podcast. Finally, only do anal on prep, or as Achilles like to call it, only do prep on anal. You guys are gonna wonder, like, wait, what did she just say it was called? Trust me, we're gonna explain all of this, guys, in time.
That's right.
So this is our first podcast, and well, yeah, it was quite the adventure to get this going, because we were supposed to launch this a few days ago, but that didn't happen, and why not?
A series of events happened, and it's insane how when they say when you're trying to start something new or something great, all this mess starts to happen, and then you're just trying to figure out why it's happening. And then I think that it's good that it happened, because when things like this happen, it just means that the podcast is going to do very well. So I don't know. What do you think?
I agree with you, because I kind of, anytime something really bad happens, I just see it as a sign that this is going to go absolutely great. And I mean, that whole mindset started 2 years ago when I did my first WBFF competition, and I had the worst stomach issues of my life. I did not know what the hell was wrong with me, and then I ended up winning that competition. And then after that happened, I'm like, every time something really bad happens, I'm like, fuck yeah. Do you know what this means? I'm gonna win again.
And it's interesting, when you actually started your prep recently, you were going through a series of events. Why don't you explain to the audience or the people listening now what happened during this prep around, you just won your title recently. Congratulations on that. Go ahead. Hand of applause for that.
You know what I think we should do first? Now I'm smooshing lipstick on the microphone. Let's do like a quick introduction of who we are.
Okay.
Because I think some people might not even know who the hell we are. So Mr. King,
you always got to throw me.
Who the fuck are you?
You got to throw me in there first, as usual. Well, I am Achilles King. I'm originally from Providence, Rhode Island. I then moved from Florida. Was living in Florida in West Palm Beach for about 8 years or so. Then I traveled to San Diego, where I was, I guess I was found on a TV show. I guess they ended up DMing me, and they were saying, hey, we're interested in seeing you on our show. I said no at first. And eventually I got on the show. It's called The Courtship. It's actually on USA Network right now. You guys go watch it. And from then on, and now I'm here in Miami with you. And this is how I met. How did we meet anyway? Why don't you explain that?
Okay, I'll do a quick introduction. My name is Maaxx West.
Woo!
I am from Sweden. I'm a Viking or Valkyrie.
Nice.
I don't even know what to say. I've been a photographer for 18 years, love fitness. I'm a fitness coach as well, and 2 times WBFF Miss Bikini USA, and top 3 in the world.
Nice.
And currently on prep to compete in Worlds again in August this year. And I came to the States 11 years ago. I didn't like my life. I was just miserable, depressed, wanted to get out of there. Left my job, my apartment, everything, just came over here, and here I am today, living the fucking life every day.
Nice. I think your introduction was better than mine, actually.
Do you want to redo it? Do you want to do another one?
No. I just want.
The story?
I forgot to add. I forgot to add. I am also an online fitness coach, and I've been coaching for 8 years now. So, yeah, that's all I wanted to throw in there.
Okay, getting back to my prep.
Yeah, that's right.
Issues, concerns, whatever. So, as at the first show 2 years ago, I had really bad issues with my gut. Turned out that I was intolerant to a lot of foods, and I went through chaos for like 3 months trying to figure out what's wrong with me. Eventually, it was better just before the show, and I ended up doing the show, and I won my first WBFF Miss Bikini USA title. Then after that, last year I did Worlds. Same there. So right before the show, I started having issues with my gut again. Not as bad as the first time, but it was still troubling. I was even bloated on stage, but I ended up actually having a bikini that kind of like hid the bloat. So I did perfectly fine, got 3rd place in the world. I was super happy with that. Woo. Then I competed now, almost like 3-4 weeks ago. I don't even lost track of time by now. So I competed now, and right before, I'm going to say say was it maybe like 2 months before the show, I fractured my foot.
Wow.
It was pretty crazy. So gym equipment in the gym is broken. Weight fell down on my foot and fractured it. I fractured my foot actually 4 times. So that's how I just immediately knew that, oh shit, that did not just happen. But, you know, I'm stubborn. I was like, I'm still going to compete. I told my coach, she's like, are you going to do the show? I was like, fuck yeah, I'm doing the show. So I just went up, I iced, I put my leg high, I ordered a hard shoe on Amazon. I used my BPC 157, which is basically a peptide or amino acid that I inject on a daily basis anyway, because it helps with healing and pain, and I have arthritis and scoliosis.
Wait, hold on right there. Could you let them know where you get it from?
The BBC.
Yeah.
So I work with a team of physicians with Transcend HRT. So I do my blood work every 2 to 3 months all the time, making sure my hormones are right, my vitamin levels, everything. And I've been using the BPC 157 for about a year. And after I fractured my foot, you know, I kept using the BPC since it's good for healing in general. And I kept joking around with people all the time and saying like, oh, don't worry, like I heal like Wolverine. That's not a big deal. And then I actually did some research on BPC online, or I was gonna find an article for a friend of mine that was asking about it, and I Googled it, and it said BPC 157, the Wolverine peptide. I was like, oh my god, like it's actually called that? I had no idea, but 6 weeks later, I was perfectly fine. So I kept training with a hard shoe on, just taking it easy, but everything was fine. You know, 6 weeks later, I leg pressed 8 plates. So I said I just took it easy, but I was back quick. Then after
You took that, yeah, that's called taking it easy with 8 plates coming back.
That was a small issue though. Then after that, one day I'm at home and I feel a little strange. It was like, I don't even know. I felt a little nauseous. It almost felt like I needed to throw up. But, you know, it's still not, I'm not throwing up. So I laid down because like, wow, I feel really strange. And I was like, maybe I'm just really hungry because my blood sugar crashes sometimes. So I lay down in the bed and I'm going to try to eat because I feel really bad. So I need to lay down to try to like feed myself. And then I was like, my stomach starts to cramp and like so bad that I don't know what to do with myself. So I lay on the floor, like on all 4, kind of trying to like figure out what position to put myself in to ease the pain somehow, because it hurt so bad that I couldn't breathe. And like I'm just hyperventilating at this point. And I grab my phone and I call my neighbor and I say, please help me. I feel like I'm dying. I don't know what to do. I can't breathe and the stomach hurts so bad. I don't know what to do with myself. So my neighbor comes, picks me up from the floor, basically drags me out to his car, drives me to the emergency room. They have to put me in a wheelchair because I can't walk, I can't talk, I can barely breathe. And the whole way in the car, I just remember I'm just sitting like this, trying to get air. I get into the hospital and finally, they drove me into the wheelchair and, you know, starts asking me questions like, you know, who are you? What's your name? Yada, 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 what happened? And I just look at the woman and I said, I need to throw up right now. And she's like, can you wait till we're done? And I'm like, no, like right now. So she gives me this bag and I just start throwing up and just throwing up and throwing up and throwing up. And finally, you know, I felt better. The pain started to go away a little bit and, you know, I could breathe, and then I ended up going to the bathroom like several times. They kept me in the hospital for overnight, and I went home, and I don't remember how many days later, but I'm sitting at home again and feeling like this problem, the breathing problem is starting again. And I'm just thinking in my mind, okay, I need to go back to the hospital now before it turns into what it was last time. So I just go there by myself. I am in the hospital for over 20 hours. They won't let me eat. I'm starving. I'm in competition prep. Like, I'm so hungry and freezing in there. And they run every single test on the planet and they find pretty much nothing wrong with me. Ending up having, because they check my lungs, nothing wrong with my lungs. They check my liver, nothing wrong with my liver. They check my, do like ultrasound. They do everything. They can't find anything wrong. Blood work is perfect. Also, they also saw that they're like, oh, by the way, are you a professional runner? Because your resting heart rate is impressive. I was like, nope, I don't do cardio. Wow. Yes. Then, you know, the way they tell me that I have some sort of infection in my colon and that I should just go home and eat antibiotics, and basically that's it. That's also when you came to my savior, because they didn't have a single thing I could eat in the hospital. I'm, you know, gluten intolerant, egg intolerant, all this, and nothing that worked with my prep, because I'm not willing to fuck up my prep either. So you, Mr. King, came and saved me with food. Yeah. And then after that, I was getting better. But that was crazy. And the same there. So I wasn't able to really work out during this time either, but I just still told myself, fuck the shit, I'm competing. I don't care. I dropped so much weight during this time, but I still went in and I won, because I'm laying in the bed. I remember someday, I think you called me, and I just like, you know, it hurt a lot in my stomach, and I'm just like laughing, and I was like, you know what? I can't stress about this, and this just means I'm gonna win. Yeah. And I did. I'm not saying that everybody should have health issues to win. That's hopefully it doesn't have to go that way. But a little bit of shit needs to happen for all the good stuff to happen, right?
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, that's crazy. See right there, a lot of people don't know the back, like the stories, like what happened during during prep. You know, they think that it's very easy. You know, they don't understand like the magnitude of obstacles and things that you go through on occasion. You know, you have your regular life on top of that you have to, you know, cater to. You're a photographer. You know, you have all these businesses and these jobs that come up, and then you also got sick. So it's pretty impressive, man. You know, that's why you're a champion, and you're gonna win again, right? In Vegas.
Say what?
I said that's why you're a champion, and you're gonna win again in Vegas, right?
And I am super freaking pumped for you, because you're gonna do your first WBFF show as well.
That's right. Let's go. Is there clapping? Let's see.
I'll do it.
There it is. There it is. I'm figuring this button stuff out right now pretty good.
Right? We need to record our own claps.
Yeah, I know, right? But no, when you were talking about the yogurt situation, Jesse from Transcend now calls me the yogurt man because of that situation.
You have a lot.
I have a lot of nicknames.
You have a lot of names.
All right, what's the nickname that you've given me so far? What'd you give me?
We got. Wait, give me a second. It's
Achilles.
Achilles, Cowboy Achilles, Lucky Charm, King. The yogurt man. I don't know, should the yogurt man be first? I'm not sure.
I don't know what you came up. Why do you?
What that means, right?
No.
Good people that, people that have a lot. If you have a lot of people that love you, you have a lot of nicknames. It's the same we have in Sweden, at least. I don't know if we do it over here in the States, but I'm from Sweden, and I know that's something my mom would always say, that if a lot of people love you, you have a lot of nicknames. That's
interesting. It's weird that now that you tell me that my mother used to call me a lot of nicknames.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Like what?
First nickname was Alfie. I don't know if this is old.
Alfie.
Alfie.
Oh, like the guy in the TV show?
Yeah, the TV show. And then she called me Curious George, because I'm very curious about like everything. I was always asking questions growing up. What else she called me? I don't know, man. It was just 1,000 names. So it makes sense.
I gotta make up a nickname too about your laughing. I don't think I've ever met anybody that laughs. I don't even know how to explain it. I said I started today putting together all the videos I have of you laughing. I didn't realize that I was that funny.
Yeah, I don't think anyone knows that you're that funny. I think that when they when they look at your Instagram, they see this badass, tatted, aggressive, ready to punch you in your mouth chick. But a lot of people that know you have a really good, obviously big heart, great sense of humor. And you're very funny. And I don't laugh. It's very difficult for me to laugh.
That's not what I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, with you, obviously, it was crazy. And
I just have like 3 hours of tape of you laying on the floor.
That's actually how we started the podcast. Actually, we were at Whole Foods. I don't remember what we were buying there.
Right after the hospital.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. We're getting yogurt, more yogurt. And you came up. We had this conversation, and that's how we came up with the name. Only do prep on anal. I still listen to this day. I still fuck up the name.
That's fine.
No, but it's good. I mean, it starts conversation. People that listen to the title of the podcast, you know, they're gonna be like, what are you guys talking about? You know, and the name is great because it starts a lot of controversy. A lot of people start asking questions, and you know, they could, you know, come up with their own perspective of what they think it is, but we're never gonna tell them. Right?
That's why we're not explaining our perspective of it just yet.
Correct.
But we will.
So, you know, the interesting topic that we're going to talk about today was, you know, a lot of people have this mental roadblock when it comes to just doing things. And I think that just being around you, like, a lot, you know, I've been around you almost like 24/7, you just have that mentality where, you know, when you think of something, you just do. Like, there's no time for you to even ponder on, oh, should I do this or should I not do this? You know, you take action in a lot of things that you do. And it's very, very impressive to me because, you know, not saying that I've never been around people like that, but to see it firsthand every single day, I'm very, like, I get inspired, you know, looking at your progress and what you do. Even this situation right now, I mean, we thought about doing the podcast and went, boom, we did it. You thought about going to whatever, everything that we're planning, which, you know, we're going to talk about maybe today, maybe another time. But what's your thought process on when you want to do something or when you're about to do something, you take action? Because a lot of people, they overthink a lot, and and once you overthink, then you get scared of making the decision, and when you're in that situation of being scared, then you lose out on the opportunity. So what advice, or like, what's your thought process on, you know, just doing things that you want to do without even, you know, being scared to do it?
I'm gonna be honest. Like, I'm a thinker and I overthink a lot.
Really?
I'm hyperactive, and I probably have ADHD or ADD or whatever, but I was never, like, the doctors always told me I'm hyperactive. But so I'm a lot in my own head. I think a lot, which I did for the majority of my life. And I think maybe you've noticed too that I always tell you the same, like, if we think of something, we have to do it right now. So, because it's like you were talking about, oh, you know, we got to order this thing. I have to go in and do it immediately, or it's not going to happen. It's just, I just feel like I've just gotten to know myself well enough to know how I am, if that makes sense. Because I know that if I don't take action now, I'm gonna start overthinking everything too much. And every single time in my life when I've just jumped into something, it's worked out. And I have so many things in my life that I wish I had done earlier. I don't have any regrets though. I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for how everything turned out. But I know if I could have thought like this earlier in my life, I would have been out of Sweden a long ass time ago. Because back then I was just like overthink. Should I do this? Can I do this? Now I'm just like, fuck it, like, life is short. And also I think when COVID and everything happened and the lockdown, and, you know, right in the beginning when we didn't really know what was going on, I think we were all a little scared, you know, because we had no clue, like, what the hell is this?
True.
Right in the beginning there. And I started thinking, because, you know, I'm locked in by myself. I had just separated with my ex then. So basically it was me all by myself in my apartment, and I had so much time to really, like, reflect on things. And I was like, shit, I gotta do all the things I want to do. Like, there is no time to wait, because we don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. If you walk around and wait, like, you're gonna miss all the chances. And if you take a chance and it doesn't turn out well, like, what's the worst that's gonna happen? Then you fucking pick yourself up and do it again. Correct. I don't know what to say. Like, we gotta take some risks, because you don't see any successful person that did not take a risk.
Yeah, and it goes back to even you competing. You didn't think that you were going to be, you know, Miss Bikini, right? You didn't think that you wanted to do that, or, you know, what was that? You just woke up one day and you were like, you know what, let me try this out, like.
It was what I said. I didn't really want to do it, but I had friends in common with my coach, and I met her, and she asked, you know, you should compete, and I said I've done it in the past, and, you know, I don't want to do it, but a different federation. Then either way, I was like, you know what, fuck it, why not? Let's do it. Let's try. So I was on prep during lockdown and COVID, and then all the shows got canceled. So I ended up prepping for 11 months. Wow. That was crazy. I also think if I hadn't prepped that long, I probably wouldn't have been as good as I was, but I had so much time. And in the beginning, I was thinking, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe other people are better. Maybe I need to change this, change that, whatever. But then the closer I got to the show, I just kind of looked myself in the mirror and said, shut the fuck up, Maaxx. You're the shit. You can do this. Because if you don't believe in yourself, why should anybody else do it? So I just started thinking to myself, and I tell all my clients, I actually had a phone video call with a client yesterday. She just competed. She was so good. Her posing was incredible. Her body was incredible. She got up on stage, and I know this has been her weakness the whole time, that she thinks that things she does is not good enough. And I've always told her, you are so good. You have to realize how good you are. So she went up on stage and made a small mistake. Here's the thing, nobody else knew that though. Only she knew that she made a mistake in her routine, and it got to her head. So after that, she couldn't really, focus and get back to it. And now we had a call, and I'm talking about it. She still did really good though. So I'm very, very proud of her. It was her first time ever. But I said, you have to start believing in yourself. I said, as silly as it sounds, I'm telling every single person this. You have to sometimes go to the mirror, look at yourself, and tell yourself that you are fucking great and you can do this. I'm not meaning be an asshole or be cocky or think you're better than other people. That's not what I'm saying. But you have to believe that you can, you will, stop thinking maybe or, no. Fuck those words. Those words should not even exist in your mind. And I feel like you're kind of the same way. I mean, you wouldn't be where you are today, because I know stories. You can tell people, you freaking, lived in a gym or lived in a car and, homeless here and lost work there,
Yeah, I mean,
I think that's why we connect.
We connect in that aspect in a lot of ways. But you went on prep for 11 months?
Yeah.
Why?
Because of COVID, all the shows got canceled.
Oh,
so I kept prepping, and show after show after show got canceled. So it wasn't planned out like that. But when I finally stepped on stage, it had been 11 months. But I was supposed to originally compete after 4 months. And then it was to 5, and then 6, and then 7. It just kept going. Normally, we don't prep that long. Normally, we do about 3 to 4 months. That's typical.
Yeah. And what's interesting? I don't think I've even told you this. The first show that I did was in 2015, and I actually prepped for 2 months.
That's it?
2-month prep.
Fuck.
I'll tell you why. Mm-hmm. Because I was being stubborn. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily stubborn, but all right. So my coach at the time I don't know how much I weighed. I think it was 200 pounds or so. Uh-huh. And my coach was like, "Hey, man, why do you want to compete?" And the first thing that always comes to mind is my family. I don't know what it is. I'm just so infatuated with, my mom that's not here now and my siblings, but he put me on prep, and then he was like, "Hey man, this is the first month and I'm not seeing much change. What are you not doing?" And he's going down the list. He's like, "Wait, are you doing cardio?" And I said, "No, I wasn't doing cardio. I was just eating and lifting." And he was like, "Nah, man, you know what? Why don't we just wait until next year or something? I don't think you're going to be ready. I don't think you're mentally ready for this." And I literally, something came out of me, and I was like, "No, I can't do this. I got to really focus." So 2-month prep, I trained twice a day for 5 days a week. Twice a day. I was obsessed. Obviously, I was really beat up. I took a lot of ice baths. But I mean, not every week was twice a day, but I did it. I did what I had to do. I stepped on stage. I did place 4th, but it was a beautiful experience. First time ever, and I did bodybuilding. Lightweight, 170 bodybuilding. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah.
So what was your weight? So you say you started on what, 220?
Not 220. I was 200 pounds.
200 pounds.
200.
And what was your stage weight?
170.
170.
Yeah.
30 pounds in 2 months.
Yes.
Damn, son.
Yeah. I don't know. You know what it was? I'm a big movie head, so I just turned on Rocky IV soundtrack, and I was playing it literally every day, and it motivated me.
You know what I want to do?
Yeah.
I'm going to move there's a lipstick everywhere.
But yeah. So I started, once I did that competition, then I started really focusing on, fitness and health. And then my coach at the time was like, hey, do you want to train some clients? And that's when I started really getting into personal training and just, helping people lose weight and, competing and all that. So that's kind of my story.
So I want to know, though, so you said, I know your mom passed away.
Yeah, I can elaborate on that. Yeah. So this year, my mom ended up passing away from a lot of reasons. She had a lot of underlying issues, and, she became overweight due to taking tons of medicine that doctors were prescribing her.
And you think you think she gained weight from the medication?
I think she gained some of the weight definitely from the medication, and some of the weight from lack of exercise and poor dieting. And, I would always educate her and be like, hey, Mom, like, I think you need to start, like, really focusing on your health. You know what I do? I'm an online coach. I could write you a diet. I could write you a workout regimen. But, Latin moms are very stubborn. If you are Latino, you know how that works, especially if you're Dominican and you're...
all moms are stubborn.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I see that. But then when COVID came around, she ended up catching COVID. So she was bedridden for 4 months in the hospital. And it got to a point where they wanted to put the tube down her throat. And they were telling me, hey, man, like, the only way she's going to be able to survive if we do this. And she refused. She was like, listen, I do not want that tube down my throat. I've heard stories about it. And, me being me, then I started educating myself on, a lot of people passing away from that situation. So, it was a constant struggle every day for her. But then finally she ended up beating COVID, and they transferred her to a rehab center. Now, when they transferred her to the rehab center, they mistreated her. They didn't clean her when she needed to be cleaned. They didn't change her I think it was like wherever she uses the restroom, whatever that thing's called. And every time they would draw blood, they would be being very aggressive. It was almost like they didn't care, and I remember her texting me in the middle of the night, and she was like, hey, I think I'm going to die here. I'm like, what? I swear. I still have the text messages on my phone. She's like, yeah, I think I'm going to die. And I'm like, why do you say that? It was like, oh, these people are mistreating me. So I called them, and I called them in the middle of the night. I filed a complaint, and finally the next day I ended up speaking to, somebody, hierarchy or whatever. And, they managed to transfer her to a different place. But by then my mom was just like, listen, I just want to get the hell out of here. Just discharge me. I want to go home. I'm done with this. So she still had some issues, I guess, but due to COVID, it causes a lot of lung damage. And so my brother also has passed away, but he was the one that picked her up and brought her home. And he was like, hey, Mom, stay with me, stay with me at the house. I can take care of you. And my mom was like, listen, I just want to be alone. I've gone through a lot of trauma and being in the hospital for these months. I just want to just relax. So she went home with a respirator. And I guess in the middle of the night, she turned a certain way and it got disconnected. So she died in her sleep. And the respirator was the only thing that was providing her oxygen at that time. Yeah. So then my brother went to the next morning to make her some breakfast and to take her out or whatever. But he found her dead. And I received a FaceTime call from him. And she was just lying there. So I kind of, I lost it. And then 2 months later after that, my brother was killed by a drunk driver, the same brother that actually FaceTimed me. And he left 2 of his twins behind, which are my nieces and nephews. They were like 8 months old at the time. And then my niece, which is around 5 years old, actually 3 years old, sorry. And it was a very traumatizing experience. But all we can do is just kind of, continue to move on and figure things out.
How have you been dealing with this? Like, what have you done to process all of this? I can't even imagine.
To be honest with you, I mean, I went through depression for 7 straight months. I caught a lot of anxiety. I didn't want to leave my house. I felt like when I stepped outside, I would just like, it was so weird because you're talking to somebody that's like pretty, extrovert, but I became very introvert at the time. And, sometimes, I do go through episodes where I get these like rush of emotions that come out of nowhere. It's because of my mom was very, very tough. She was like a guy and a woman in one, man and woman in one. So anytime that we would complain about something or start crying about something, she'd be like, listen, dry your tears, like toughen up, like, there's nothing, and I think that us growing up, we would try to kind of like sweep all of our emotions under the rug. And every time something happened, I'd kind of just brush it off. And I think now is where I started to see like these emotions coming out of nowhere. It's kind of like a bag of emotions that are about to explode. So here and there, like I go through certain things mentally, but nobody really knows because I don't want to be that burden. I don't want to, call somebody in the middle of the night and say, hey, look, this is my problem when knowing that everyone else has issues and everyone else is going through something and dealing with something. So, I mean, I know that's not the best form of thinking, the best way to think, but I could be stubborn in that aspect, I guess. So, yeah.
What do you think it was that kind of got you out of that worst depression? Like, was there a certain event or something you just like, what was it that just made you think like, okay, shit, no, I gotta do something?
Well, after traveling back and forth, burying my mom and then burying my brother, I, this is interesting because, during this time, the TV show contacted me. And this is right around, I believe, after my mom passed away the first time. And, my family kept telling me like, hey, look, you should go, because I told them, my mom just passed away and then my brother passed away. Like, I don't think I'm going to be able to do this. And my family kept encouraging me, like, hey, look, man, this is probably something that you may need for now to kind of clear your mind just for a little bit. And, as they say, you got to keep moving. Life goes on. So I traveled to London, went to England, York, and I did the show there. And it helped out a lot, to be honest, being around in a different environment, some really good people on the show. And but that was very short-lived because when I came back to San Diego, it just got worse. Yeah. And then obviously, I kind of didn't want to work at the time. I still was just like, I don't want to work. I don't want to be around people. I don't want to talk to people on the phone. But then a client of mine, his name is Jonathan. Shout out to Jonathan. Reached out and he was like, hey man, I know that you are dealing with these things right now, but I was kind of wondering if you could train me again because I love the training. I love what you do. And for some reason, I felt like it was like an epiphany for me. Like my mom was in my ear, like, listen, like I know I'm not here, but this is what you can do to kind of leave a legacy for yourself and for our family. Like continue to keep growing because I believe in you. So I just felt like that was kind of what she told me during that time. I know this kind of sounds crazy, but when I'm sitting there, how it happened was I hung up the phone and for some reason I closed my eyes and I kind of saw her face again. And I was kind of like, oh, well, maybe this is what she wants me to do. And it happened on the show too. So. Oh yeah. Tell me about that.
What? I mean, I know. Tell everybody else about that because you became kind of a little bit of the highlight of the TV show there.
Yeah. So
whatever you say, you were.
I guess so. Yeah. So I'm trying to remember this. So yeah, they kept asking me to, tell the story of what happened during the show, of my family and things like that. So I was like, you know what, this might as well just tell them. So I kept, every time they would ask, I would kind of just not try to show my emotions so much, I guess. And, but then during the last episode that I was on, when I was called up and she was like, hey, look, I don't think that, this is going to work in terms of like, if you guys haven't seen the show is called The Courtship. It's on USA Network. It's like The Bachelor meets Bridgerton. So it's a Regency era show. So if you guys want to go ahead and tune in, check it out. So that way it's a dating show. Yeah. Yeah, it's a dating show. So yeah, I was one of the suitors on the show, and when I got called up, I was like, well, I guess it's ready to go. But then I look up, and then like vividly see my mom and my brother, and I instantly like broke down on the show. Instantly, like it was just like wow. Like I think it finally hit me that they weren't there, because I remember prior to the show when my mom died, then I went back to work immediately. Like the same week, I flew out to Rhode Island, and then I flew back to. I was working with a friend of mine, Logan, and started working, and then I ended up calling my mom. Ended up calling her thinking that she was still alive, because I would always call her for something. Like, hey, look, I just landed this deal. Oh, hey, look, I'm doing this now. And I literally was so excited to call. And then that's when I was like, whoa, that's when I started realizing everything happened.
That's crazy. And that was very strange for you, right? Because I know you told me before that you're that kind of person that you don't cry because you were raised that way, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then you did that, and look at you now, and then everybody was crying, and everybody's crying, and now everybody loves you. Nah.
But yeah, it was it's a crazy experience. But now I'm here with Maaxx West.
Yeah. I find it very not strange. That's not a good word, but you're such a like sweet and humble person, and it's crazy for me to think that all of that stuff happened to you and you're still this great person.
Man.
Like, why didn't you become an asshole? Do you know what I mean?
It's crazy that you say that, and I really appreciate the compliment. I really appreciate that a lot, because
I wouldn't be your friend if you were an asshole.
No, I know. But it's a lot of people ask me that question. It's so weird. I don't know how to answer that. I really don't know. I think it's just how I operate. It's in my DNA. Things happen.
Do you think it has changed you somehow?
Yes.
Or are you a different person now?
I don't think I'm a different person. I just think I'm evolved. Like, I think that, obviously I'm a little more stronger due to those events, those tragedies that happened. And I'm a little bit more, I think I'm more grateful.
Yeah.
Because I understand the value of life and how quickly you could not be here. Mm-hmm. And I just want to be able to live happily and just wake up happy every day and just know that I'm alive and know that I'm working towards something,
So now we're always going to do this. We come up with an idea and tomorrow we fucking action.
Yeah, so there it is. That's the topic, is just taking action on things. Because look, if I didn't take action on going to the show, if I was just, which I was, don't get me wrong, I was doubting even going. Like, I didn't think I wanted to go. I didn't think I wanted to do this.
Yeah.
But, after talking to my family, talking to the right people, and just, I don't even think that they kind of motivated me. It was just kind of in a sense of, let me smack out of this and just go. Mm-hmm. I do the same thing as you. Like, I jump into something and see where I land.
That's why we became such good friends too. And I know too, because when we were talking about the whole thing, I don't even know how it started, but I think I said something to you that you should be competing too in WBFF, right? Yeah. And then boom, now you are. Yeah. And I know I even talked to, where you're a part of our team now, and I remember talking to my coaches too, and I was like, oh, Achilles is going to join, he's going to do this. Hey, if he do, I was like, no, there is no if with this guy. Oh, he's doing that shit. Yeah. I love that. So do you have any advice for people, if they really want to do something, like how do you take that step? How do you get rid of that fear and just like go for it?
I think, it's just kind of what the saying is. A lot of people miss out on these great opportunities because they sit there and they think about if they should do it or not, and they overthink everything. Yeah. When you overthink, you think your way out of the situation, and it's not good to do so. Sometimes, don't get me wrong, I mean, if it's something major, you may want to sit down and think about it if you're that type of person. But if you think about it too much, you may miss the opportunity, and you may miss what life may give you, because who's to say if somebody says, hey, got an opportunity to you to move out to Spain, and you're like, I've never been to Spain. What the hell I want to do out there? Mm-hmm. Right? And then what happens if you do go, and then you just become this this icon just by your traits, your God-given traits, Who knows?
Actually, I told a friend that because I have a friend who's been deciding back
Gifts.
and forth
Gifts,
about,
not traits.
moving to a different place. And it's like, oh, but what if? I said, so what if you don't like it? Then move back. I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's not like you get stuck to the ground and can't leave, So it's like, if you go somewhere else and you don't like it, then fucking go back.
Yeah. I was actually having like I told you earlier, I was having a conversation with a client. She's actually in school right now. She's her major, I think, is social work. And she was telling me today, she's like, listen, I don't think I want to do this. And I'm like, okay, well, don't do it. And she was like, well, I've been at it for 2 or 3 months now, and I feel like I'm going to quit. I feel like a quitter if I stop doing this. And I'm just like, you're going to regret it so much in the future if you move forward doing this, because if you end up finishing, you're not going to be happy. You're going to be walking on stage, getting a diploma, and then just getting a diploma just because. Why don't you just stop what you're doing and then figure out what you want to do later? You have all this time to think about what you really want to do and just go.
I think that if she stays, if anything, she's quitting on herself.
Yeah.
That is
wow.
quitting, because she's quitting on her dream, or she's quitting on her life. So maybe you should tell her that. If she stays there, she's a quitter.
We need to cut up this podcast and just go straight to that, and then I'll send it to her.
I'll send it to her.
Yeah, but that's crazy. Any experiences with what about you? Do you recall a time where you had a really good opportunity and you overthought it and you didn't take the opportunity and you lost out on it? Is there any situations or anything that you can think of? Oh, no.
I don't know. It's not like a specific situation like that, but I know when I lived in Sweden back then, I mean, I was in Sweden until I was like 25, which is still the majority of my life. And I think there was a lot of things. I'm not going to say I didn't take risks over there, because I definitely did. So, because I come from a city called Gothenburg, and I was there for a long time, and then, I was like, I don't know if I want to be here, so I ended up taking, I did some bartending, like on the side, so I took a bartending job on an island, and when I was on this island, I met an ex-boyfriend of mine. He asked me to move to Stockholm with him, so I just did. Like, literally, I was like, Mom, I'm not coming back home. So, in a way, I've kind of always been like this, but I think I've become more extreme with it. So I definitely took opportunities, but back then I said I should have left much sooner. I should have left because I was miserable over there. I didn't like my job, and I changed jobs and stuff, and I moved around a little bit, but I was definitely afraid to leave the country. That was a huge step. There's one thing to move from one city in Sweden to another. I mean, Sweden has 9 million people in the whole country. We're talking a small-ass country. I even told you the other day to go from all the way down south to all the way up north with a flight that's like, what, an hour or something? Then we're in this damn country. If we go from here in Florida where we are over to Cali, that's like fucking 5-6 hour flights, Yeah. This is massive. So moving around in Sweden is kind of not that big of a deal, if that makes sense. But then leaving the country, honestly, you know what? I'm gonna go back in time a little bit before I came over here. So in Sweden we have a lot of paid vacation. Sweden is a great country. Don't get me wrong. It's just not for me. It's very safe. We have free healthcare. It's great if you want to have a regular job with your paycheck and your husband and Volvo and your 2 kids and a dog or whatever. Perfect. That's all for you. That's not me. So I was supposed to go on vacation. I went on vacation with an ex-boyfriend of mine to Thailand. We loved it. We get back to Sweden. We immediately buy new tickets for our next paid vacation time we have. Then by the time the vacation time comes up, we broke up just before. So I was like, well, okay, what am I gonna do? I asked him, do you want to go anyway? I still want to go on this vacation. He said, okay, let's go anyway. Then he ends up like, you know what, fuck it, I'm not gonna go. And I'm sitting there with the tickets like 2 weeks time more until the trip is happening, and I just thought in my head, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna go. I'll go by myself. Wow. I'm gonna do it. So I went over there, traveled around, backpacked all by myself, met up with a bunch of great people, and I think if I would have traveled with somebody, it's very much like maybe you stay to yourself, you don't really connect and socialize in the same way. Now I'm alone. I kind of have to, you know? So I meet so many cool people. I travel around. I do all of Thailand. I go to Bali. I go to Laos. I missed my flight home because I was in Laos and I had no internet service. So instead of staying for a month, I end up staying for 2 months. My friend thought I died because I didn't answer my phone, had the best time of my life, got back home, and then I think that kind of changed me. I was like, shit, I can actually do things all by myself and have so much fun and be perfectly fine with it. And I've always been a little bit of a loner my whole life, but not like that. Like I was always, you know, I like to be with my friends and stuff. After that, I just started loving doing things on my own. Not that I don't want to socialize when I go somewhere, because I do, but I don't need to, somebody doesn't fucking need to hold my hand to do shit. If I want to do something, I'm just going to do it. I don't need anybody to do it with me.
Wow.
Does that make sense? So that trip kind of changed my mind a little bit. That was probably the start to it. And then after that, it just kept going, you know?
So and that probably gave you the willpower to move here, right? To move to the States.
So when I moved here, so I said, I rented out my apartment to a person. I quit my job. My boss didn't even believe me. He was like, yeah, haha, that's so funny. And I was like, I'm moving to New York. He's like, okay, that's a fun joke, you know? I was like, no, I'm quitting right now. Give me the papers.
What?
And then I told my mom, and I just dislocated my knee. Wow. So my mom is like, are you sure this is a good time to leave? I'm like jumping around on my one leg. I refuse to have crutches too, by the way.
Wow. Are you human? Are you even human? Because there's reasons why I'm saying this, because there's plenty more experiences that I've seen. I'm just like, so you're still going to train?
I don't know. I don't know. I even told my TikTok live people today, like, I honestly, there's been times in my life when I thought something was genuinely wrong, that I had to just cease of some sort, especially with my metabolism and like how fast my body burns and stuff. People don't believe me, and I was like, when I die, please, everybody
oh
hears
my
this
God,
now,
wait for this.
Out open. When I die, please give my body to some great, smart scientist person that can fucking experiment on it. Because, I mean, I'm not going to know the answer, but hopefully somebody that knows me will get to know the answer and maybe can tell me in the maybe afterlife that we don't... That's another podcast discussion, by the way. What happens after we die. Yeah. But we don't have to go into that right now.
Well, I mean, I get you're saying that because you saw a TV show the other She saw a TV show last night, and she's all into it now.
I've been watching Russian Doll on Netflix. It's like parallel universes, kind of. Oh, it's really good. You guys gotta watch it. It's really good. That was like free promotion for them.
Yeah, I know, right? So you had a dislocated knee. You told your boss, I'm out of here, bud.
I have
Peace.
7 suitcases.
7?
7 suitcases.
Wow.
And do you know what? You're not going to believe me when I say this. I get to the airport. 7 suitcases. A lot of them were like special luggage because it was my camera equipment. They did not charge me a fucking dollar for my suitcases. I bet you the dude that worked behind the desk fucked the night before.
Wait, what? He what?
He definitely got sex the night before. He must have had a really good day. The airport people, they never do this. They will fucking charge you $70 if you have 1 pound too much.
Wow.
I did not pay a dollar.
I mean, 7 is, they say this.
7 suit. I'm not even like making up a story. It was 7 suitcases.
7
suitcases. Some of them were like special luggage, like the tripod bags was like one of them. Then I had a huge like light bag, so it's not like a regular suitcase, but it's like camera equipment. They're big bags. It's not like a small bag,
You know what they say, right?
What?
7 is a spiritual number.
Is it? So it was free. Oh, next time we travel, we're bringing 7 bags just to check.
Not in the U.S. Good luck. I couldn't even get through the clear thing that we signed up for. Yeah, I think the second time around. Well, I mean, I had issues. My ID was a little bit beat up.
Sort that shit out.
No, but I already did. I mean, I got a new type. You know.
Oh yeah. I remember.
Yeah, but it's interesting. They let me go by with the broken one, the first time they gave me a manual pass. The second time, the guy was like, "Oh, you're not going through here." I'm like, "Okay." So yeah, the airport now. There's no way we're gonna get through with 7 bags.
I don't even like. I can't. I still can't believe that happened.
Yeah, that's
That was
insane. So
freaking
you got
crazy.
so okay. So you went 7 bags in. Where did you stay?
Oh, I flew into New York first. So
Okay. Well,
I
did you
had
stay
actually
with someone?
found-
Did
yeah,
you?
so I had found. She's my 4th cousin. So we had my family, my grandmother especially, and my aunt. They had done some like family tree type of research here, and
Yeah.
found that we had this that some people in New York that we were related to. I
Oh, wow.
didn't know them, never met them, never talked to them, nothing. I think I spoke to her on Instagram or something. She's older than me, and she just said, "Hey, when you come over here, why don't you come stay with me? You know, while you find a place." So I met her, super fucking cool. She's a stylist, and I'm a photographer, so you know, I guess we connected that way too. And I stayed with her for a little while in Brooklyn, and then I rented a place after that.
Wow. So what was your first job? Where did you work?
So when I first came here, obviously I didn't have a green card. Wait. What can we say on this podcast without getting in trouble?
You can say whatever you want. You can say whatever you want on this
Okay,
podcast.
so I don't even know how. Oh, no, this is how it worked. So I came there. Obviously, I didn't expect to make any money at first because I had to just figure my shit out. And I actually came here on a student visa because you can't stay otherwise. So I applied for a school to take some classes. And that's a different podcast story. But either way, that's how I got my visa. What was I saying?
You applied for a student
Do you know
visa.
what? I'm so hungry right now. My brain is getting like little blanks here.
You
and
eat
there. I'm
every
like,
every
what's my
2
name?
hours? What do you eat every 2 hours? You eat
every like 3 hours.
Okay.
I said it's like okay, brain. I was like, what? Hungry? What? Wait, what's my name?
What is it? Your stomach talking to you? It comes out of nowhere.
Oh, you know when
Maaxx.
you're on prep, you're just hungry all the time, or you get hungry like exactly when you're supposed to eat, kind of. Either way, what were we saying?
Yeah, well, you came here, you got your visa.
Yeah, oh yeah. So yeah, I stayed there. No, so I didn't have a job. Obviously, I didn't expect to make any money at all. One day, I am walking around in Manhattan, and I found this super cool, like, army store, like Army Navy store. So I go inside. I was tattooed back then, not as much as now, but I still had tattoos.
Did you have your neck tattoo at that time?
No,
Question.
I did not.
Okay.
No.
Wow. Okay.
But I go in there, I had all red hair, like crazy red, orange hair. So I guess I still like stood out. I walk in there and this guy that works there, he's like, "Oh my God!" You know, he just like starts talking to me and like love me. And he's like, "Shit, girl, you gotta work here," he said.
Wow.
"You have to work here." And I was like, "Well, you know, I don't have a green card." He's like, "That's fine."
Wow.
So I started working there. And I worked at register because I was one of the few people over here in the States, like you have to have like register experience to work there. And I had from Sweden. So they put me on the register, and then I also designed their windows because I'm a designer and photographer and stuff. So they had me design the mannequins in the window and stuff.
Wow.
So it was a lot of fun. So I worked there for a while until I sorted it all out, which is also a different story because we got like only a few minutes left. So Achilles, is there anything you feel like you need to say right now before we have to end?
What? You can't just give us that good conversation, good story, and just be like, Achilles.
Yeah. We can keep talking about this.
Yeah.
We only have a few minutes left, so give me a funny story.
A funny story. Wow. I mean, I can give you a story how we were talking about earlier. We see like your story, how you came to America and you figured it out and things like that. Well, I was actually when I traveled I was in Florida. I was actually homeless in Florida for an entire year, and I was living in my car.
Why were you homeless, or like how did that happen?
Well, first, very ridiculous story. So I was living in this apartment complex, and my water bill came up to $800. I remember telling you this, and I stepped into the leasing office, and I'm just like, why is my bill so high? I'm not a hippo. Like I'm not bathing in freaking water. Probably it's probably my spirit animal. I don't know, but
in a parallel universe, the hippo Achilles was taking a bath.
Yeah,
in the same
seriously.
apartment as you.
Probably.
And the bill you got was actually from the other universe.
Yeah, but who knows?
And he got your bill. He was a happy hippo, that's for sure.
That probably could. That's probably what really happened. But I stepped in there and I was like, "Hey guys, bill's $800. You guys need to take care of this. Like, what could we do?" And they're like, "No, that's your responsibility. You got to figure that out." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, very stubborn and young. I'm like, well, I'm not paying my rent then. If you guys don't take care of this, I'm not paying my rent." They're like, "Okay, cool." So literally, it was like a week before paying rent, and I didn't pay it. And 2 days after, they gave me an eviction notice. So I got evicted from my apartment, and I started living in my car, and my credit was shot after that. And in Florida,
because of the apartment thing, yeah.
Yeah, and in Florida, if you have an eviction, it's every time they run your credit, like, bye, we can't have you.
Still to this day?
Depending on where you move, I don't know.
Can it go away or does it go away?
No, it goes away after 7 years or something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I was living in my car, and I remember clear as day a situation where I was sleeping in front of the bank, and I was in the car. I had a stack.
Why the bank?
Which bank?
Why bank? Why the bank?
It was a
bank too?
parking lot. It was in a parking.
I wanted to hear that you had some crazy story about robbing it or something.
Oh yeah, well, they thought I was. That's the funny thing is, no, I'm not lying. They really thought I was staking the place because staking is like, waiting and stuff. So it was, I don't know, I think it was like 3 o'clock.
I'm gonna connect you with there is a dude on my TikTok live that is in prison for money laundering. Maybe
Really?
I can merge you.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Wow. Anyway, so yeah, I was sleeping in the car. Luckily, I had like a stack of books on my passenger seat because I would always read books, like whatever. And I fell asleep and I woke up to like 4 or 5 officers pointing their guns at me.
Really?
Yeah, pointing their guns and like, and then flashed immediately.
In this damn country about that?
Yeah, they're all like, "Oh, step out the car," or whatever, and I'm just like, "What?" And then I put my hands up, and then the lady, it was a woman officer on the left hand side, and it was like 4 other male officers. She come up to the window, and she immediately looked at my passenger side, and I don't know, maybe it's just me, but she looked directly at my books, and she was like, "Okay, this is different, right? What does this guy do?" He doesn't have a gun, but he has like 40 books on his passenger seat, and she immediately, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "Well, I'm sleeping in my car, obviously, I'm like, I have nowhere." Self-development books, actually.
Oh.
A lot of I read a lot of self.
Robbing the bank books.
Not robbing the bank. Yeah, how to get it. The blueprint on how to stake.
The first book was like how to rob a bank.
I would have been fucked. That's it. I would have been screwed right there. They're like, "Oh, put your hands up right now." That's funny. Damn, you see where your mind goes places? Yeah, that was funny. but yeah, this. So yeah, they are like, "All right, well, you can't sleep here, obviously. Get the fuck out of here." So no, I know, I understand. I mean, I would have been like, if I was a police officer, and I would have saw that maybe, but whatever. Then after that, I ended up, figuring it out, moved to California. Still, same thing. I'm, changing my entire life from Florida to California. Left with a bag. One bag. You had 7.
One bag.
I had 1.
Okay, do you know, I have to ask though, what was in the bag? What were these important things that you had to bring and it all fit into one bag? I literally want to know, because 7, that was still a struggle for me.
Yeah, I want to know what you had in there, like shoes. You had shoes, right? Yeah.
Oh
Women.
I swear I probably brought like 20 pairs of shoes.
Is the camera here?
And the other 250 pairs stayed with my mom.
You women, every time there's a vacation, listen, I have a friend literally just told me she's going there for 1 day. 1 day. And I'm like, "Okay, cool. What are you bringing?" "I'm going to bring 5 pairs of shoes." I'm like, how are you going to wear 5 pairs of shoes in 1 day?
You know why though? Because here's the thing.
Please tell me.
Why.
Tell me.
Because here's the thing. When I'm packing, I'm in this mood, right? I'm thinking, this is the outfit I want to wear. But I don't know what the fuck I want tomorrow. What if I change my mind and then I get over there with that 1 pair of shoes that I don't want to wear that day? We just bring it is preventative, you know?
Got you.
So we're not sitting there fucking pissed because we don't have the pair of shoes we want to wear.
So you're telling me is you have, so you go on a vacation for one day and there's 5 events you're going to be going through. That's why you have to wear 5 different outfits
not
with 5 different shoes?
She might only wear one pair, but she
I got
doesn't
you. No,
know
I'm
which
kidding.
one she feels like wearing tomorrow. I probably, if I went away one day, I wouldn't bring, I've gotten better. If you asked me 10 years ago, yeah, I definitely would have had the 5 pairs. But if you ask me today, I'm going to say that I could probably leave with 3. But reason being this, I need 1 pair of shoes for the day, 1 pair of shoes to train in, because that's different. And then a pair of heels in case of fancy event.
Okay.
Because I don't want to train in my shoe I wear during the day.
Would you
that you would understand, right? So I would bring 3.
Yeah. Would you train in your stage shoes? Your stage heels? Would you train?
If I train in them? I mean, I guess I could if I have to. But if I don't have a shoe, I could also train barefoot.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
It's just that if I train legs, I need a very specific shoe. If I train upper body, it's not so important.
Nice, okay.
But
cool.
for leg, I can't do leg day in like anything else than Converse or Vans. Or I would do barefoot, but after I fractured my foot now, I'm fucking scared. I don't want to train barefoot. What if a weight falls on my foot again?
Oh my gosh.
That is happening.
But we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up.
I was just gonna say.
Yeah, look at this.
What about the shirts though? So we're wearing shirts from urkelfactor.com, which has a kind of a little bit of a special spelling, so it's gonna be written
check out the back.
in the caption. What, for anybody who's just listening, he's standing up showing the shirt. So he's wearing a hoodie and I'm wearing a t-shirt. And on the front it says, I feed off my haters. And on the back there's a big heart and it says haters. We love our haters because even if you hate us, you still benefit to our paychecks. We love you for that. Thanks, guys.
Hey, thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Until the next podcast on.
Also, we want to say, if somebody has questions or topic requests or even want to request to be a guest on the show or anything at all, you can either email or DM us and all the information is going to be here.
Perfect. Until then, and this is... Thank you.